During the October 19, 2021 meeting of the Parkland Board of School Directors to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I'd like to read a few statements on the relevant portions of policy regarding public comment. The applicable policies are 903 and 903.1. The applicable administrative regulations are set forth in 006 AR0. A full version of these policies and regulations are available for review on the Parkland website. The relevant portions of policy 903 are as follows. Public participation shall be permitted at the discretion of the presiding officer on a given issue. The board requires that public participants be district taxpayers or residents. All persons wishing to participate in a public board meeting shall register their intent with the board secretary in advance of the meeting, and on the day of the meeting, all persons wishing to participate shall register their intent on the form obtained at the registration table. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by an announcement of their name and address. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer, and the participant may address or question board members individually. The presiding officer may interrupt or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individual to leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum, and call recess or an adjournment to another time when a lack of public decorum interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. No placards or banners will be permitted within the meeting room without prior approval. The relevant portions of Administrative Regulation 006 AR0 are as follows. The opportunity to speak at a public board meeting is open to all individuals residing in the Parkland School District. All residents wishing to speak to the board must complete the request to address the board of school directors form found at the assignment table. School board president will call those individuals that request to speak at the appropriate time. Each individual is limited to 3 minutes to address the school board. The relevant portions of policy 903.1 are as follows. Use of electronic recording devices during board meetings. Recording devices such as cameras, cell phones, electronic tablets, tape recorders, and other similar recording devices are permitted at public board meetings under and pursuant to the following rules. Persons must notify the assistant superintendent of his or her intent to use a recording device prior to its use. An individual's right to record will be limited or forfeited if there is material that interferes with the ability of board members, administrators, school officials, school employees, and others to participate or observe during the public board meeting. Audio recording devices can be used from an individual seat or from a location designated by the board president. Video recording devices can be used from locations designated by the board president. Thank you very much for your attention to these items. And as always, in recent times here, we are still under the state mask mandate, so when you do come up, please keep your mask on when you're speaking at the podium. If we move now to the approval of minutes from the school board meetings in September and the October committee meetings.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Number 4, report of executive sessions. Mrs. Shirley. Thank you very much. Moving on to number 5, acceptance of the treasurer's report. If I can have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Item number 6 is public comment on agenda items. There are no comments on agenda items tonight. There are only comments on non-agenda items, which will be taken later in the agenda. Moving on, and before we move on here, just want to say again publicly that all these items on the agenda tonight have been reviewed in committee meetings by all of the members of the committees. Questions have been asked and answered, and research done if there's anything that needs to be looked into, and we have all had our answers or questions answered, and we all have the opportunity here tonight to ask additional questions if there's further clarification needed. Item number 7, Academics, Arts, and Athletics Committee. This is Linda from Montana.
Item 7.1, the committee recommends that the agreement with ABA Support Services approved by the board on September 21st, 2021 be withdrawn, canceled, and rescinded. And in lieu thereof, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached replacement revised agreement with ABA Support Services to provide special education support and staff training. The agreement period is for the 21-22 school year, and I so move.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bull. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 7.2, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to sign the attached contract from Behavioral Health Associates to provide special education services, and I so move.
Thank you. Second, please. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 7.3, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached quote from Novi Board, Clearwater, Florida, to provide security awareness training for employees at a cost of $15,237. This item will be funded through Title IV funds, and I so move.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
That concludes the AAA committee.
Thank you very much. Item number 8, Buildings and Grounds Committee, Mr. Cullen.
Thank you. Item 8.1, the committee recommends that the following construction change orders be approved. Snacksville Project 1, change order number 1, Panzetti Enterprises Incorporated, unused contract allowance, deduct $4,107.26. Snacksville Project 2, change order number 1, Macri Concrete Incorporated, credit for eliminating concrete moisture barrier, deduct $5,300. Kernsville Roof, change order number 1, Alan Koosman Roofing and Siding, credit for unused contract allowance, deduct $4,805.86. 2020 summer projects, change order number 1, Alvin H. Woods Incorporated, credit for unused contract amount, deduct $2,078.57. 2021 summer roofing project, change order number 1. Alvin H. Woods Incorporated, credit for unused contract amount, deduct $4,302.78. Can I make that motion?
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 8.2, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached proposal from CM Agawam Company to furnish and install 6 tractor motors on the high school home bleacher and to check all aspects of the bleacher for proper operation for a total price of $49,823. This project is listed on the Joint Purchasing Program co-stars. This project will be paid from the Capital Reserve Fund. Can I make that motion?
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 8.3, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached proposal from CM Agawam Company to furnish and install a variety of parts that are worn, damaged, or missing on the high school visitor bleacher, and to check all aspects of the bleacher for proper operation for a total price of $22,488. This project is listed on the Joint Purchasing Program co-stars. This project will be paid from the Capital Reserve Fund. Can I make that motion?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trimble. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 8.4, the committee recommends that the board award the differential price on number 2 fuel oil bid to APCO, Aston, Pennsylvania, commencing on November 1st, 2021, and ending on June 30th, 2022. Can I make that motion?
Thank you. Second. Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 8.5, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached quote from Troxel Communications for the purchase of front row Juno amplification systems for the total price of $24,651. Pricing is determined through a competitive bid process under the Technology Bidding and Purchasing Program, administered through the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit. This project will be funded from ARP ESSER funds. Can I make that motion?
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Mr. Bull. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
And finally, from our committee, 8.6, the committee recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached quote for a purchase price of $540,406.65, submitted by CDW Government LLC through the state's competitive bid process known as PEPM for the purchase of replacement Chromebooks for a total price of $540,406.65. This project will be funded using Emergency Connectivity Fund through the American Rescue Plan Act. And I make that motion.
Thank you. A second? I'll second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
And that concludes our committee's activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, Personnel and Finance Committee. Mrs. Rawl.
Thank you, Mr. Hines. Item 9.01, personnel items, and I would like to take these as one whole motion. Retirements, resignations, items A through J. Changes status, items A and B. Request for child rearing leave of absence, items A and B. Request for FMLA, items A through D. And employment of personnel, items A through, S. And then approval of the day-to-day substitute list, which we have a list there for our benefit. And I so move.
Thank you. And second? Thank you. Any comments or questions? Mr. Cruz?
I just want to take this time to personally thank Sherry Deeb, the Director of Health and Wellness, for doing an outstanding job during this pandemic. Thank you so much for all you do and have done for the Parkland School District.
Yes, I would concur with that. Knowing Sherry over the last many years, it's been a labor of love seeing you move through the different positions and assist everybody in the district. So thank you very much for that. Also, I'd like to call out change of status for Frank County. Congratulations on that, taking over for Mr. Stutz. Welcome you and thank you for accepting that position and moving on up. All these retirements and change of status, it's always bittersweet to see people moving on, but the ones that are coming up through a change of status, it's great to see that we've really built the bench and we have people that will come up through and stand up for us. So thank you. Any other comments?
I'd just like to comment, Frank, congratulations on the well deserved. Thank you. You missed Mark.
I'd also like to comment on the congratulate Frank. I was asked to be on the committee to do the search, and I was really torn. I didn't want to, because that meant that, we had to come to grips with the fact that Mark was leaving. But, Frank is tremendous, and, we're so looking forward to, what you're going to do and continue on with the fine traditions that Mark instilled here. So, thank you so much.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 9.2, graduate credit reimbursement for personnel who have properly submitted their credentials and receipts as appended. It is recommended that staff members be reimbursed at the contracted rate. And we have a list of reimbursements attached, and I so move.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item 9.3, the committee recommends that the board approve the establishment of Fund 21 to move elementary school accounts and scholarship funds retroactive to July 1st, 2020, in accordance with provisions of Governmental Accounting Standards Board, GASB, statement number 84, and I so move.
Thank you. And second. Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
And lastly, item 9.04, that's board policies for first readings. So just ask that everybody take a look at 008, local board procedures, the organization chart updates, and 903, community public participation in board meetings. And both of those are attached for the board to take a look at. And then if there are any questions, contact Dr. Troutman or myself, and we can take it from there next time. So that concludes personnel finance.
Thank you. Item number 10, graduation. The administration recommends that the board approve and authorize the board president to execute the attached license agreement between Parkland School District, the district, and Global Spectrum LP, a Delaware Limited Partnership, as agent on behalf of DBH Development LLC for the rental of the detail center for the district's graduation on Tuesday, June 7th, 2022. If I can have a motion. Motion. Thank you. And second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Number 11, intergovernmental agreement. The administration recommends that the board approve and authorize the superintendent to execute the attached intergovernmental agreement for Title I equitable services between Parkland School District and Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit Number 21 for the provision of bundled remedial instructional services. If I can have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Number 12, student affairs. It is recommended that student 2021-1 be expelled from Parkland School District for 1 calendar year. If I can have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you for the second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 13, reports. On behalf of our community college, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Hine. We met last month and we discussed cash flow, revenue, and expenses. The college is in line year to date on with all the revenue, cash flow, and their expenses. There was discussion about the federal free college, still up in the air as far as Washington is concerned, and where that would lead the community colleges. Pennsylvania is one of the highest, that's one of the handful of states that costs are high for community colleges, so it's being looked at very carefully. The enrollment is down very slightly, in credit hours and tuition, which they're looking at very carefully, trying to get students back enrolled. Staying with the theme of many voices, one vision. The strategic plan was still discussed. It's been in the works for some time, for the fall of 2021, and which would go through for 3 years. The foundation is holding its diner round. They had 100% participation from the trustees. In your board docs, you'll see a Parkland School District fact sheet of the graduates from Parkland School District. 90% of the 2020 graduates who responded to the survey are employed with 250 employers and or going on to higher education at 50 universities. Presently, we have 659 students at the college, which consists of 59% are female, 41% are male. 44% of the students are full-time, and 56% are part-time, as you can see. Top has that on the screen. And that concludes my report. It's a quick meeting.
Thank you. Carbon High Intermediate Union number 21, Mrs. Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Hine. This is all real fresh in my mind because we just had our meeting last evening on the 18th. Executive Director report, Dr. Ives, the only thing she had mentioned to us was that the boardroom is on the list of capital projects and work is going to be starting in November. Being that the meetings are back to in person and virtual, you can do either one, but a lot of us had concern that, we'll walk in, there'll be big holes in the floor or something like that, you got to be careful, but the most of the work is being done in sound and off and video systems in there. Then we had an update and a presentation by Dr. Mark Scott introduced Dan Fisher, who runs the Youth Forestry Camp 2, and he gave us an update. Now, for those of you not familiar with these youth forestry camps, just a little background. They were established in 1956 by the Department of Human Services Bureau of Juvenile Justice Services. And their mission statement is to support and promote youth towards independence to become productive, contributing citizens and enhance the juvenile justice system improvements. These facilities are designed to provide state-of-the-art treatment, care, and custody services to Pennsylvania's most at-risk youth. This particular camp number 2, the facility is in Hickory Run State Park. Attendance at this program is court ordered. These students, it's been adjudicated that they attend. The students reside there 24/7, and they're there anywhere from a period of like 4 to 6 months. It's a 4-track program, so you have your traditional academics and academic credit recovery, GED prep and testing, and they use the Pearson VUE system, and career and technical education. Dan Fisher indicated that the design of the program is paramount to its success, as it provides what these students need, but also continues to grow with what job skills are necessary to succeed. We then had a presentation by Eric Leck, our C&I Educational Tech Director up there, on the IU's comprehensive plan. General reminder, he kicked off by saying that the mission statement up there at the IU is very simple: helping children learn. And I love that, because it's just plain and simple, no frills. Eric went over multiple slides to highlight the strengths and challenges review, action steps and benchmarks, and importance of reviewing the curriculum programs at all the districts to ensure that the IU is as aligned as possible with all of our sending districts. In addition to the usual personnel and finance matters, the board also unanimously voted to review Dr. Ives' contract, which was, that was very easy to do because she's doing just an outstanding job up there. The board also voted to recognize and commend the IU employees for Staff Recognition Week, which is November 15th through the 19th. And our board president, Mary Ziegler, also made note that 2021 is the 100th anniversary of this event. So very much looking forward to that and what's been done for the employees up there at the IU. And that concludes my IU report.
Thank you. Parkland Education Foundation, Ms. Fontana.
Thank you, Mr. Hine. I just want to report out on the golf tournament that was held for the Ed Foundation. We couldn't have asked for better weather. It was amazing, a perfect day for the golfers and the volunteers. It's a wonderful experience to see the community come together, whether they're golfers, sponsors, volunteers sitting in holes, everybody has a role. It's just such a great community activity. Brookside, again, beautiful venue, wonderful host. They're just a real pleasure to work with. So everything was perfect, it really was. What tops it off was we raised over $37,000 for the Ed Foundation. So, and like I said, for a wonderful day, everybody had a great time, and then to walk away, everybody has the same purpose in the foundation and to support the mission that the foundation has. So, I also wanted to let you know that the third annual is already announced for Friday, October 7th next year. So, if you didn't participate in the first or second, I strongly suggest come on out next year. And if you don't golf, we have a volunteer position for you. So, we do.
Not sure. Thank you. Moving on to the legislative update. House Bill 1254, which was a voucher type bill, and was vaguely worded with its provisions on how the establish a voucher for students in a public and non-public school, providing a school district that does not provide full-time in-person instruction or denies student full-time in-person instruction would be required to establish a voucher. That bill was voted down and did not move forward. Education bills, Senate Bill passed, Senate Bill 552 passed out of the Senate. It is now at the House for consideration. Not sure how far it's going. But they said they will take it up in a future meeting. The legislation would create a new process by which agencies may petition the Office of Open Records for relief from vexatious requester. So that is moving forward through the process. Another education bill, House Bill 1660, limits the school board emergency powers. This passed the House. Limits the school board's temporary emergency powers, which is currently for up to 4 years, limited to 60 days. Currently, we're dealing with any unforeseen emergency may put into operation temporary emergency provisions for a period of up to 4 years. The district is still required to provide them with 180 days of instruction under all of this. So if this would pass, it would limit it to 60 days. Senate Bill 172 calls on Congress to lessen the burden of obtaining school bus endorsement, approved by the Senate Transportation Committee and approved by the Senate. Senate Bill 859 extends the time for development of regulation of stop arm cameras by another 2 years. Charter Bill 1892, House Bill 1892, passed out of the House Education Committee. Proposal that would create a process to ensure that payments due to a charter school are accurate, and further provides the process used to reconcile these payments, including addressing any disputes that arise, is fair and timely. House Bill 1685 allows significant unchecked charter school expansion with no public oversight and no consideration given to the quality of the charter school's educational programs. It provides no real reform and only exacerbates the flaws in overpayments to charter schools. That passed out of the House Education Committee, so that's moving on. And those are my updates. Moving on to number 14, approval of accounts payable. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Comments, questions?
Yes, I have a comment. I'd like to state that my support of the accounts payable for 2021-2022 does not include the payment to cyber charter schools for the disparity in funding, as well as the lack of transparency of taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
And please let the record show that I support Mr. Cruz's statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item number 15, public comment on non-agenda items. We have 4 tonight. I'll call you up one at a time. Again, you have 3 minutes. Please continue to wear your mask as you come up and speak. And first person is Christina Holsinger.
Hi, good evening. I didn't prepare anything, but I just felt as a parent, I just speak, or else I must speak for my kids. But I'm Christina Holsinger, 1240 North 36th Street. I have a 2nd grader, a 5th grader, and a 7th grader. They're masks every single day. I'm super hot about you, and we don't have any information. We're seeing things that our kids are going everywhere without a mask. I know that 80% of students are going to school and going to Target providings in sports with masks on, but they come to school and have us fully masked, and I have to speak up for them. I mean, you can say it's state mandated, but the state also said cancel Christmas last year. Don't see your parents. I lost my father a few years ago. There's no way we're leaving my mom alone. So people can make their own choices, but I think Parkland needs to start stepping up because you can't just say it's state mandated because there's other schools not doing it. So I think we need to take a stand and really see the disadvantage of giving our kids. That's it.
Thank you. Second person, Beth Wendell Finch.
Hi, Beth Whitehill Finch, 181 Ruth Street, Allentown, 18104. I'm up here to speak once again on the forced masking of our children and staff, and I just have some questions. 1, when will we be getting any updates at all on the tiered plan you all put into place? If I'm remembering correctly, I believe we were supposed to be getting bi-weekly updates, and I've checked my email, including spam, and I've yet to find a message about where we are in the plan. And with all due respect, we've gotten more updates on the Parkland library that not even all students go to than we've gotten updates on our kids being masked every day. 2, why are our children still being forced to mask? I see kids in my neighborhood and neighborhoods everywhere playing together. They play outside, they go to each other's houses, they get in close proximity to each other, and they have a great time. They do what kids are supposed to do. And from what I'm seeing, everyone is fine with that until Monday rolls around. 3, what sense does it make to waste so much time that is supposed to be spent on learning and instead use it to police our children, making sure the least at-risk age group is correctly wearing a mask? 4, did I miss the part when school staff learned how to confirm whether or not a student's medical or religious exemption would be acceptable? I'm wondering what exactly is involved in determining your decisions on exemptions, seeing as you've decided to question medical doctors' decisions to provide such exemptions as they see fit. 5, what's next? We know COVID isn't going anywhere, which is why we have to adapt, overcome, and let our immune systems do what God intended them to do. The parents of children ages 12 and up were given the option to have their child take the COVID shot, and if that is your end game, it's time to make a new plan, because there will still be a time where people are going to choose to do it or not. And these masks are only being worn in school and at medical facilities. Masks will have to go at some point, or it's going to become very apparent that some other entity is holding you to keeping them in place and not allowing for parent choice. You're mandating something that hasn't even been proven to mitigate COVID, and people are still getting COVID, even after receiving the shot. It just doesn't make sense. Lastly, I have to mention that we have not at all discussed the mental health and stability of our children nearly enough. I'm sure you're aware of the situation that led me to bring this up, and I feel strongly that we need to evaluate how much mental damage is being done to these kids by making them forego facial expressions, smiles, and warmth every day of their lives while they're in school, a supposed safe place. Thank you.
The next person is Frederick Mihela. Am I saying that right?
Close. It'll work. Good evening. My name is Fred Milo. I live at 5210 Elmhurst Drive in North Whitehall Township. Just a few quick comments on an issue I'm sure sooner or later the board will have to address, that is vaccinations. I've been on the web since I'm retired. I can do this sort of thing. You working folks, a different story. In the Journal of Science, for example, we find that studies have shown that something called natural immunity, which is what you have after you've gotten the disease itself, okay, the body generates antibodies against the disease. So you have these in you. The idea of vaccination, of course, is we're going to generate those artificially. In fact, it turns out that the natural immunity works at least as well as vaccinations, if not better. It seems that the antibodies tend to hang in the bloodstream longer and are more effective. So when you're considering a vaccination program, one of the things to consider is, has that person had the COVID-19 before you want to give them a vaccination? Now, a large study was done in Israel, about 500,000 people, and they found also that both vaccination and natural immunity were very effective. The systemic side effects are more common in people previously infected. That is to say, if someone's had the disease and then gets infected and then gets a vaccination, they're 56% more likely to experience a severe side effect. So when you hear about side effects for vaccinations, one of the issues to consider is, has that person had the disease? If so, you really, really, really need to excuse them from vaccinations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Last speaker tonight, Jared Coleman.
Good evening. My name is Jared Coleman. I live at 1410 Buckhill Lane in Bryansville. Listen closely. Parkland's Equity and Inclusion Plan has been used as a Trojan horse to implement critical theory and cultural Marxism under the guise of social justice. Denying its existence is irresponsible and only furthers the spread of misinformation. In a community forum tomorrow at 7 p.m., I will be giving a presentation on exactly how CRT is being implemented into the Equality and Inclusion Plan at Parkland. I urge all of you to attend, since you clearly don't know what is in the Equity and Inclusion Plan, or you are complicit and not fit for the position. Tonight I wanted to show you another example of where tenets of CRT are found in Parkland, but this time I'm not going to be looking at the Equity and Inclusion Plan, but rather I'm going to show you a book in your own library right now. A book purchased from the Parkland Education Foundation and the donors that donate to that, specifically purchased by the librarian. The book is called Piecing Me Together. I was able to get a discussion guide from the publisher for the book, and on the second page of the discussion guide there's a chart which I will share with you. It talks about who is privileged and who is marginalized. When we're talking about race, the whites are dominant, people of color and Native Americans are marginalized. Gender identities are dominant, straight, analog, and trans, non-binary, non-conforming genders are marginalized. Interestingly enough, for religion, the dominant group are Christians, especially Protestants, and the marginalized groups, according to the publisher, is simply everyone else. Beyond this, there's a whole section on intersectionality. In fact, the whole novel guide is titled Piece Me Together, a discussion guide about race, class, gender, and intersectionality. I don't have time to explain intersectionality right now, but we know intersectionality is the work of Kimberly Crenshaw. Kimberly Crenshaw is a self-proclaimed CRT scholar. This is not opinion, it is fact, and you can find it online. Additionally, another book that was purchased for high school was called Yes So Maybe So. When you start reading it, it's about the election of Donald Trump and how people are so scared as a result. The author even says so, quote, in November 2016, we watched in horror and panic as Donald Trump was elected President of the United States. Like many people, we were anxious about the type of world our children would grow up now with Trump being president, and his hatred had given full license to others who shared his racist and bigoted views. Can't even read this anymore. Yeah, votes against Donald Trump, but you have it against Barack Obama. In fact, in the librarian review of the book, they said, quote, lots of political discussion that leans left. More conservative students may take issue with it. You guys bought this book. Well, the Parkland Education Foundation brought the funding, and your high school librarian decided these were good books. What else did the librarian buy? And I find it funny that you are claiming that I'm bringing divisive politics into the classroom. No, I'm not bringing divisive politics into the classrooms. The divisive politics is already there, you put it there, and I'm trying to get it out.
Thank you. That concludes the public comment. Moving on to roundtable. Start down to my left, Mr. Miller. Ms. Fasciano.
First, I want to congratulate a few people that were during workshops, all the students that we recognized, the Science for Outcome winners, and the National Merit Scholars, semi-finalists and commended students. It was so great to see them in the room again and being able to recognize them for their huge accomplishments. Congratulate Frank and Noni on his new position. You're going to do a wonderful job. I'm really excited. You have big shoes to fill, though, with Mark leaving, but we're confident that you're the perfect fit for this job. Also want to congratulate Sherry Deeb on your retirement. Although it's unfortunate to read that, it was, we want you to stay forever. But hopefully the pandemic will go away. We won't have to worry about that as much. But you did an amazing job through all of this, what we've been through, and just keeping us calm and answering all of our questions. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Lastly, I was very fortunate today. I was able to attend the LCCI 50th anniversary celebration of the LCCI. We had Eric Fedorcha, who's our chairperson, was actually one of the original teachers interviewed at the site on a concrete slab, and he spoke. He gave a wonderful speech. They did a time capsule. They opened the 25-year time capsule, and they're going to replace it with a 50-year time capsule. So it's just a great opportunity to see what an amazing institution that is up at LCCI. If you're not familiar with it, I recommend going on their website and looking at all the programs that they offer. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rowland.
I too would like to congratulate the award winners this evening. Students are just remarkable. So congratulations to them and their parents. I'd also like to thank Mr. Stuff. I know you'll be here for a while. The transition date is yet to be determined, and I'd like to also congratulate Mr. Nunez. And Cheryl, you'll be with us for a little while yet too, but congratulations on your retirement. Certainly our loss, but well-deserved break for you. I also wanted to thank our admin team. I think we should do this before, but thank our admin team and our financial partners for achieving the tremendous savings through bond refunding and for far exceeding our target savings. And I'd also like to thank Tom Sturhammer for securing over $500,000 in funds for the Chromebook replacements. That's another example of how the Parkland administrators try to save districts everywhere they can through grants, planning ahead, being proactive. We appreciate everyone's efforts in that regard. And lastly, Pam, I don't know why the cycle went off last week for me, but I knew you have a small department, but I don't know, something just struck me last week, and I'm just amazed at how you and your very small department of 2 primary people that help you have managed to keep our district so well staffed, especially in this climate. It's very difficult. So I just wanted to acknowledge and thank you and your team for all your efforts. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz.
I'd like to first start out by congratulating Mr. Stitz on his soon-to-be retirement. One of my favorite memories and on the board and working with Mr. Stitz is the ability, or how do I word this? The time when COVID began, I worked with him in coordination with Lane Dapper, who works for Nickelodeon and mentors and teaches young artists to come in and do a workshop that was free to all students and free to taxpayers. And I heard it was an absolute success. And I'd like to thank him from the bottom of my heart for allowing that, because I feel like that type of experience is really prevalent and warranted for our tremendous young artists. That said, I'd also like to congratulate again Sherry Deeb on her soon to be retirement, and all the students that came out tonight to earn their awards. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCall?
This evening, we celebrated our academic success. We saw scholars of the highest level starting their lives with a solid education from their parents and from our community in the form of this district. So I thank all our administrators, all our professional staff for their contributions to making sure that our society moves forward with strength. I want to thank Sherry for the work she's done. I know we'll have you for another year. I'm thankful for that. And I appreciate all the effort, the heart and soul that you've brought to your position. I wish to mention Mark Stutz and the legacy that he has established as the first director of performing arts in our district. You have set a standard that Frank will meet, but it'll be a challenge. And I'm happy that we have someone of such talent to move into this position. But Mark, you have set a very, very high bar. And I thank you for your years, your decades of effort.
Thank you. Mrs. Truby?
Thank you.
Mr. Kenny?
Not to be redundant, but Frank, congratulations. Mark, best of luck in your retirement. Pam, I agree. We spoke earlier this evening. I wanted to clarify where I stood with that vote, and I appreciate your comments. I think we saw the agreement that come out earlier this evening in the workshop, and we recognized, and the parents that came out and supported them. And I think we're on the Parkland in the right direction. Obviously, as Rob said, that's a future generation. It's bright for the students in Parkland. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Roth?
Thank you. I just want to also agree, it was great to have students back with us tonight. You know, we really miss these recognition periods, and, you know, especially when we get a chance to, you know, talk and recognize the parents as well. I love that we do that. You know, the students, obviously, they're excelling, they're great, but the parents, you know, that's a driving force behind it, and we love having them out, and we can appreciate them as well. Mark, I gotta let you know that you got a little shout out. The Parkland Community Library did a community survey recently, and I was going through the survey results, and one of the items that was listed in there was they were indicating for the staff members at the library, they said, you know, it would be great if we could see their faces again. Did anybody happen to see the play at the high school where the students wore the plastic, you know, clear masks? So, you know, they enjoyed that and made mention of it. Also, just want to quick do a little commercial for South Whitehall Township and the Parkland Community Library are partnering for an event this Friday at Covered Bridge Park. It's the Spooktacular event. There's going to be trunk or treating, spooky time storytelling, and then Movies in the Park is Scoob, which is the origin story of Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. So I'm really excited about that personally. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Ridley?
I'd like to start by thanking J.R. Renna, Sam, Edward, Lawrence Bell, and Tom Hammer for putting together the EdTech resource website for teachers that was presented at the AAA meeting. It is an understatement to say that I was incredibly impressed with the wealth of information that's taken by it, so thank you for that. As everybody else has mentioned, thank you to the middle school winners of the STEM competition. Writing congratulations to them, and congratulations to the national winners for my finalists and commended students. Congrats to Sherry Lee as well on your decision to retire. Your expertise and dedication have been a tremendous asset, especially over the past year and a half. We are lucky to still have you as part of the team until September. So.
Thank you. Mr. Bull?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My bedtime coaching, I'll pass.
I'd like to thank all the parents and community members who have come out tonight to the business meeting and have sat through this and provided us with your comments. Those who are following along online as well, thank you for that. I said my congratulations already. So continue the job well done, and we will all move forward together. Dr. Mack.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. I apologize in advance, Mr. Bolt, for just a couple minutes. Some of it will be redundant, but I'll say a few words, so hopefully you can stay up for that. I want to congratulate and welcome all of the new hires. Welcome to the family, welcome to the team. I think you made a great decision to be here. I do want to say a special shout out to Frank and congratulations. When I finally sat down with my children to say that I was potentially leaving to come to a new district and a new position, the very first thing out of my daughter's mouth was, "Do you know how good their theater program is?" So that's the first piece that I got from my family, and I said, I absolutely do. So I just want to say congratulations, your enthusiasm, your passion, your care for kids, obviously has shown through for many, many, many years here. And it's just been such a standout program, both theater, chorale, your teaching duties. So we just are thrilled that you're going to be part of the administrative team. Right next to you, you got some big shoes to fill. We know the work and the effort that Mark has put in over the years has really made that program a flagship program for the state of Pennsylvania. So we certainly will miss Mark. I know he's going to work well with you, but Frank, congratulations. I'd be remiss to not mention, she's already been mentioned a few times, but Sherry D, her service here for over 23 years within the district. Sherry, you're an absolute rock star, especially over this pandemic. You know, many people have worked tirelessly very, very hard, all of our staff. Just like many of you and parents, it's been a long haul. But I don't know if I've ever met anyone who works as hard as Sherry. The amount of time that you take in for this district. And I've only been here for a couple months, and I just know the amount of time that we've talked and what you've done, your expertise, your knowledge, the care and compassion for our kids. Thank you. And we wish you all the best in your next journey with your family. Thank you. I also want to say congratulations to Mr. Workman. 24 years within the district as an employee here. And his expertise and his experience in our maintenance staff is certainly something that we're going to miss. We keep getting more and more retirements. I tried to convince Sherry before the meeting. I said, listen, we have until 8 o'clock. I can pull your name. I can tell someone not to vote to have you retire, but we certainly continue to lose tremendous people, but we're very happy for them to do that. Thank you to Tom. I know that Linda had already mentioned this. Tom Durham and Leslie for working to get our Chromebook purchases through that emergency connectivity fund. Again, saving over $500,000 for the district in a need that we have. I think that's very creative and we appreciate that work. On a positive note too, we did have homecoming last week at the high school. It was great to see that there's so many different activities and things happening throughout the week. With Spirit Week, having the homecoming game, the homecoming floats. You know, it certainly was not pre-pandemic, but it got close and it was really just great to see everything that was happening and the joy that it brought for our students and the staff. And it just felt great. It felt like we have some movement into where we'd like to go. So that was nice to see. Thank you, Nicole, for setting up all the recognition for this evening for our kids. I know I already mentioned about it. Congratulations and thank you to the family. Just a couple general comments on some of our community. Thank you to all the community members for being here at both of our meetings, both live and online. We appreciate you coming and talking with us, both administratively and from the board. It's important that we hear all sides and all perspectives. Just a general note about the tiered system, that certainly is a valid question, valid point. Appreciate that. And right now, the best I could say is we're under, I know no one wants to hear it, but we are under a state plan right now, the state mandate. The tiered system is kind of something else right now that we would have wanted to institute, which we did, but we're under that state mandate. And certainly looking at the data, we most likely would still be in that third tier at this point based upon the numbers of where we're at. However, I think you bring up a really good point in terms of where we would be, where are we compared to where the state is. That mandate is still here. We don't have any information to share on where that's going. I can say that over through the county, the numbers look a little bit better. There's some positive trends, and hopefully that will continue and hopefully start to surface in the schools. And I would say just about for anyone, any community member in terms of our diversity, equity, inclusion, reach out to us. We invite you to come in and talk, be part of that group, be part of that committee, be part of what we're trying to do within our school district and move forward together. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to adjournment, I have a motion. So, thank you, second, thank you, Mr. Gold. All in favor? Aye. Next school board meeting is next Tuesday, October 26th at 7 p.m. November board committee meetings are November 8th, 5, 6, and 7. And November board meeting, only one board meeting in November, November 16th, workshop at 7, meeting at 8. Thank you, have a good night, safe travel.